Hurry in for 0% financing for 60 months plus $3,250 bonus cash during the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Tonight, as we come on the air, the explosive allegations. The White House hits back at one of its most outspoken former advisors, Omarosa. She's now claiming she's heard a recording of the president using the N-word. The White House calling her disgruntled, blasting her new book as riddled with lies. State of emergency, destruction mounting from the massive holy fire.
Backyard's on fire!
The arson suspect blamed for the inferno. His bizarre behavior in court today. The highway shootout, newly released video. The suspect fighting with two troopers. A taser having no effect. The suspect breaking loose, then grabbing his weapon. Plus, the road rage brawl bringing New York City traffic to a halt. A cab driver allegedly ramming a family's car. Two children inside. The fight spilling out onto the street. And the close call at O'Hare Airport. The video just released. This cargo plane missing the runway, nearly hitting several passenger planes.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
And good evening. It's great to have you with us on a busy Friday night. I'm Tom Yamas, in for David, and we begin with the White House facing off against another former advisor, blasting a soon-to-be published tell-all book by Omarosa. Her relationship with the president goes back more than a decade, from The Apprentice all the way to the White House. But in her book, she's reported to call her former mentor and boss a, quote, racist, a misogynist, and a bigot. Tonight, she's also claiming she's heard a recording of the president using the N-word. The White House accusing her of false attacks. ABC's David Wright starts us off with the latest explosive claims.
Tonight, the Trump administration is slamming a new book by former White House advisor and Celebrity Apprentice contestant Omarosa Manigault Newman.
Omarosa has to go. You're fired.
Long since fired from both posts, Omarosa now describes Trump as a racist, misogynist, and bigot, according to the Washington Post, which received an advanced copy of the book, Unhinged. The White House says the book is riddled with lies. Quote, "It's sad that a disgruntled former White House employee is trying to profit off these false attacks, and even worse, that the media would now give her a platform." Omarosa was the highest-ranking African-American to serve on the Trump White House staff. Since then, she's dished about her experience on Big Brother.
I'd like to say not my problem, but I can't say that because it's bad.
And on Good Morning America.
But there were a lot of things that I observed during the last year that I was very unhappy with, that I was very uncomfortable with.
The new book goes into detail. According to the Post, Omarosa claims that on the set of The Apprentice, Trump used the N-word repeatedly. His offensive language caught on tape. In the book, Omarosa reportedly says she never heard it herself. But today, in an NPR interview, she told a different story.
The United States, the President of the United States, use not only the N-word, but as Bill Pruitt described during that interview, other horrible things during the production of The Apprentice.
According to the Guardian newspaper, Omarosa claims she personally witnessed the president use racial slurs about advisor Kellyanne Conway's husband, who's half Filipino. George Conway tweeted today, "The allegation is not credible and indeed is ridiculous."
All right, David Wright is with the president tonight in New Jersey. And David, we can't stress this enough. The White House really pushing back on this book tonight, saying they are all false accusations.
That's right, Tom. This book contains a number of explosive claims, virtually all of them getting some serious pushback tonight. And the contradictions in Omarosa's own account aren't exactly helping her credibility, Tom.
David Wright for us tonight with those explosive allegations. David, thank you. And from California, a state of emergency for 2 more counties. The holy fire now racing from Orange to Riverside County. Firefighters waging a heroic battle to save thousands of threatened homes. You see that right there. And prosecutors say those families may have this man to blame, a suspect accused of starting the fire, making a strange appearance in court. ABC's Will Carr reporting on it all from the fire lines again tonight.
Tonight, the explosive holy fire doubling in size, threatening homes. The man accused of igniting the fire, Forrest Clark, facing a judge today.
Mr. Clark is charged in several counts involving arson, aggravated arson.
It's a lie.
Making several outbursts, his arraignment postponed, bail set at $1 million. A local fire chief who says he got a text from Clark reading, quote, "It's all gonna burn." Telling CNN he warned officials about Clark 3 years ago.
I said that you have to take care of this, or he's either going to burn something or kill somebody.
On the front lines, firefighters jumping on hot spots hours after battling a fierce firestorm.
Backyard's on fire!
Sounding the alarm late Thursday.
This fire is made to run. You can see those flames behind me. The embers are burning. It is so smoky, and the homes are right behind me here.
Desperate residents armed with garden hoses making a final stand late into the night.
Is there any fire trucks coming?
One evacuated resident helplessly watching the flames on his home security cameras, talking to a firefighter at the door.
We're going to hang out here a little while longer before we move on, but your house is safe.
Thank you so much.
More than 1,200 firefighters now battling this out-of-control blaze.
Will Carr joins us now live from Lake Elsinore, that very same neighborhood where firefighters made that heroic stand. And Will, firefighters were able to save every home there last night?
That's right, Tom. Amazingly, you can see backyards like this are painted red after those tankers swept in time and time again. Take a wide look and you can see just how close those flames came to this line of homes. We saw those fire crews jump on those flames over and over tonight. These homeowners are thankful as the fire crews still have a long fire season ahead. Tom.
Incredible how they were able to stop the fire there. All right, Will, thanks so much. Next, the deadly misunderstanding here in Queens, New York. Prosecutors say a tourist knocked on the window of a car, thinking it was an Uber, the driver allegedly punching the tourist, who fell and hit his head and later died. Tonight, that driver, a college basketball coach, is charged with assault. Here's ABC's Adrian Banker.
No comment.
Tonight, this Wake Forest assistant coach on leave charged with assault after a man he allegedly punched died from his injuries. Police say these images are of Jamil Jones leaving the scene moments after a late-night altercation with Shandor Szabo. Detectives say Szabo was in New York for a wedding and after several drinks called for an Uber, but his phone died. Witnesses tell police he knocked on the windows of multiple cars searching for his ride. Prosecutors say Jones was seated in his white SUV and that when Szabo allegedly hit his window, the coach got out and punched Szabo in the face, knocking him out. His head hit the pavement. A witness who does not want to be identified says Jones then leaned Szabo's body against a car before leaving the scene.
So he would stop choking on his blood till the ambulance came.
Szabo died 2 days later. On Thursday, Jones turned himself in, charged with misdemeanor assault. Jones' family expressing their condolences, saying the coach is a man of good character. Szabo's family today is not accepting their apology.
I'm sorry. Your condolences are a little bit too late.
The medical examiner ruled the death a homicide, and the DA says that Jones' charges could be upgraded. Just a sad story all the way around, Tom.
Adrian Bankert for us. Adrian, thank you. Next, an extraordinary look inside a police traffic stop that turned into a gun battle. Take a look at this. This is the moment the dash cam video shows the suspected DUI arrest spiraling out of control. That driver eventually turning the tables, leaving one of the officers critically injured, and then speeding off. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, newly released dashcam video showing the moment a traffic stop on a Pennsylvania highway turned into a near-deadly gun battle.
Is everything okay? You were going 87 miles an hour.
A state trooper pulling over 22-year-old Daniel Clary for speeding.
Like this.
The two officers give Clary a sobriety test. But the situation escalating when the troopers try to cuff him. Using their tasers.
I got him. Keep the taser on.
Police say Clary reached for one of the troopers' guns during the struggle, then runs around the car, reaching inside and pulling a gun and opening fire, gravely wounding Corporal Seth Kelly. Clary also shot before making a getaway to the hospital, where he was arrested. Trooper Kelly applying a tourniquet to his own leg. Officials say his heart stopped for several minutes, but he narrowly survived.
I was in a medically induced coma for 12 days. I was shot 4 times. I'm just extremely lucky to be here right now.
Tom, Clary was convicted of attempted murder. The DA says he wanted that video released to show the officer's restraint and how quickly these situations can turn violent. Tom.
Incredible how that officer was able to survive. All right, Ariel, thank you. The NFL preseason is now underway, and so is the renewed debate over players protesting during the national anthem. 2 players kneeling on the Dolphins sideline, a raised fist at the Eagles game. This morning, President Trump was quick to tweet about it, suggesting the players can't even explain why they are protesting. Here's ABC's chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
It was these images from the opening of the NFL preseason games that prompted President Trump to reignite an old controversy. The NFL players are at it again, Trump tweeted, taking a knee when they should be standing proudly for the national anthem. Numerous players from different teams wanted to show their outrage at something most of them are unable to define. In fact, the players have made it quite clear they're calling for action on issues of racial injustice. That's something the president himself has acknowledged.
That's what they're protesting. People that they think were unfairly treated by the justice system.
Philadelphia Eagles player Malcolm Jenkins, who raised his fist in protest, indicated players won't stop.
And where we are now, I just think it's important that we continue to, keep this conversation going.
President Trump started hammering the player protests last year.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a off the field right now, out, he's fired.
And John Karl joins us tonight from the White House. And John, the president is proposing a new form of punishment for players who protest?
The president says that protesting players should be suspended without pay. But Tom, the NFL put out a statement saying there will be no discipline for those players who protest, at least not for now. Tom?
Jonathan Karl reporting from the White House tonight. John, thank you. Next tonight, late word on the major verdict in a landmark court case in San Francisco. A jury ordering pesticide maker Monsanto to pay $289 million in damages. Dwayne Lee Johnson, a former school's groundskeeper, suing the company, claiming he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after spraying Roundup weed killer for 2.5 years. Monsanto claimed the product was not responsible for that man's illness. The company facing thousands of similar lawsuits. This was the first to go to trial. Charlottesville and Washington, D.C. both bracing for the 1-year anniversary of the deadly Unite the Right rally. This year, that group will rally in the nation's capital, across from the White House, where opposing groups are organizing to meet them. ABC's Eva Pilgrim is in Charlottesville tonight with the mother of the young woman who was killed in last year's violence.
Tonight, the fear, a repeat of this. City streets once again becoming a full-fledged battle zone.
You will not replace us.
These images of men marching on the University of Virginia's campus shook the country. White nationalists converging a year ago Sunday in Charlottesville, protesting plans to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee.
White lives matter! White lives matter!
And tonight, on the heels of new protest plan by Unite the Right, the mother of 32-year-old Heather Heyer, a counter-protester, killed when a car driven, police say, by a white nationalist plowed through a crowd of people, is speaking out.
You don't get to shut my child up and get away with this.
Heather's mom says this weekend she will be marching with the same group her daughter did 1 year ago.
Since Heather's death, the Anti-Defamation League says the number of white supremacist propaganda efforts has gone up. Now, white nationalists tell us they have rallies planned all across the country this weekend, the largest expected to be in Washington, D.C. Tom?
Eva Pilgrim, who will be covering those demonstrations through the weekend. Eva, thank you. And there's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Friday. The road rage brawl bringing New York City traffic to a halt. The fight spilling out onto the street, a cab driver allegedly ramming a family's car, 2 children inside. Plus, the concert scare, Rascal Flatts ordered off the stage when fans were suddenly told to clear the area. And the just-released video of the cargo plane missing the runway, appearing to nearly hit several passenger jets. What went wrong at O'Hare Airport? Stay with us.
Jardiance asked, when it comes to managing your type 2 diabetes, what matters to you? You got A1C, heart, diet, and exercise. Slide them up or slide them down. So let's see. For most of you, it's lower A1C, but only a few of you are thinking about your heart. Fact is, even though it helps to manage A1C, type 2 diabetes still increases your risk of a fatal heart attack or stroke. Jardiance is the only type 2 diabetes pill with a life-saving cardiovascular benefit for adults who have type 2 diabetes and heart disease, significantly reducing the risk of dying from a cardiovascular event and lowering A1C, along with diet and exercise.
This really changes things.
Jardiance can cause serious side